I am a seasoned pizza delivery driver, accustomed to the routine of driving through the dimly lit streets of our small town at night. The glow of neon signs and the occasional flicker of streetlights provided a feeble comfort as I navigated my way to countless addresses, ensuring hungry customers received their pizzas hot and ready. But nothing could have prepared me for the chilling encounter that would forever haunt my nights. One particularly gloomy evening, rain was falling in a relentless torrent, adding to the eerie ambience of the night. I received an order for a large pepperoni pizza from an unfamiliar address on the outskirts of town. The address was nestled deep within the woods, an area I had never ventured into before. My intuition urged me to turn back, but the allure of a generous tip drove me forward, despite the sense of unease that gnawed at my gut. As I followed the GPS directions, the paved road gradually transformed into a narrow, winding path that seemed to disappear into the thick foliage. The rain pounded against my windshield, reducing visibility to a mere sliver. My headlights cast eerie shadows among the trees, and the silence was so deafening that even the sound of the rain seemed to hush in reverence. The address led me to a decrepit, abandoned house that looked like it had been untouched for decades. The paint was peeling, and the windows were boarded up, as if the house were trying to shield itself from the outside world. The sense of foreboding grew stronger as I parked in front of the house and grabbed the pizza box. I hesitated for a moment, half expecting this to be some sort of prank, but driven by a combination of curiosity and the need for a paycheck, I reluctantly stepped out of the car. The porch creaked under my weight as I approached the front door. I knocked softly, my heart pounding louder than the rain outside. For a moment, there was only silence. Just as I was about to leave, the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior that seemed to stretch infinitely into the depths of the house. A figure stood in the doorway, shrouded in darkness, with only a sliver of pale skin visible. "I've been waiting for you," a voice whispered, sending a shiver down my spine. The figure extended a bony hand, gesturing for the pizza. I handed it over, my hand trembling as I met their gaze, or at least where their eyes should have been. Instead, there were just hollow sockets, devoid of life. My voice caught in my throat, but I managed to stammer out a weak, "That'll be $20.99. The figure reached into a pocket and produced an old weathered bill. I took it, my fingers brushing against their icy skin. The bill itself was oddly pristine, like it had never been used before. Without a word, the figure closed the door, leaving me standing on the porch in disbelief. As I retreated to my car, a bone-chilling sensation washed over me, and I felt as though 1,000 unseen eyes were watching my every move. The rain had intensified, forming a curtain of water that distorted my view of the world outside. I fumbled with the keys, struggling to start the engine. When the car roared to life, I sped away from the house as if the very hounds of hell were chasing me. Over the following days, a sense of unease settled deep within me. Every shadow seemed to conceal lurking horrors, and every late-night delivery left me with a gnawing fear in the pit of my stomach. The memory of those hollow eye sockets haunted my dreams, leaving me sleepless and restless. One night, as I drove through the same wooded area, I caught a glimpse of a figure standing on the side of the road, partially hidden behind the trees. Panic surged within me as I realized it was the same figure from the abandoned house. Its skeletal hand reached out, beckoning me to approach. But this time, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal and sped past, refusing to fall into its trap. From that day on, I never ventured into those woods again, and I avoided any orders that led me to unfamiliar addresses. The horrors I had encountered that night had forever changed me, shattering my sense of normalcy and plunging me into a world of fear and uncertainty. The memory of the pizza delivery at night still haunts me, a constant reminder that there are things in the darkness that should never be disturbed. I am Mike, a young man trying to make ends meet by working as a pizza delivery driver. My nights were usually spent driving around town, delivering hot and cheesy pizzas to hungry customers. But one fateful night, something happened that would forever haunt my dreams. It was a dark and stormy night, with rain pouring down like tears from the heavens. The wind howled like a trapped spirit, and the streets were deserted, except for the occasional flash of lightning that illuminated the shadows. Despite the ominous weather, I was determined to complete my deliveries and head back to the warmth of my apartment. I received an order from an address that I had never been to before. The delivery instructions were strange, to say the least. Deliver to 13 Blackwood Lane. Knock 3 times, then wait. I shrugged it off as a prank or an eccentric customer and entered the address into my GPS. The navigation led me to a part of town I had never been to, a secluded area surrounded by dense woods. As I drove down the narrow, winding road, my unease grew with every passing minute. The rain seemed to intensify, making it hard to see beyond the beams of my headlights. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I reached 13 Blackwood Lane. The house was old and dilapidated, its windows shattered and its paint peeling away like dead skin. I parked my car in front of the house and grabbed the pizza box. As I approached the front door, a chill ran down my spine. I knocked 3 times as instructed and waited, the sound of raindrops hitting the roof of my car creating an eerie symphony. Just as I was about to turn and leave, the door creaked open slowly, revealing a dimly lit hallway inside. "Hello?" I called out, my voice quivering. No response. Taking a deep breath, I took a step forward and entered the house cautiously. The air inside was stale and musty, and a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the atmosphere. The hallway seemed to stretch on forever, with multiple doors lining its sides. I hesitated for a moment before choosing one at random and knocking softly. "Pizza delivery," I announced, my voice barely audible above the sound of the rain. A faint shuffling noise came from inside the room, followed by a low, guttural growl. My heart raced as the door slowly swung open, revealing a dark figure hunched over in the corner. A single ray of moonlight pierced the darkness, revealing a pair of glowing eyes and a twisted grin. My blood turned to ice as I realized that the figure before me was not human. It was some sort of grotesque creature, its body contorted and misshapen. Its skin was pale and mottled, its fingers ending in sharp claws. The creature's lips peeled back to reveal rows of razor-sharp teeth, and its breath came out in ragged, raspy wheezes. I stumbled backward in horror, dropping the pizza box in the process. The creature's gaze locked onto me, and a sickening feeling washed over me as I realized that I was its prey. Without thinking, I turned and sprinted down the hallway, my heart pounding in my chest. The creature's unearthly screech echoed behind me, mingling with the sound of my own frantic footsteps. I reached the front door and yanked it open, the rain hitting my face like icy needles. I didn't dare look back as I jumped into my car and slammed the door shut. My hands trembled as I fumbled to start the engine, and I peeled out of the driveway, leaving the nightmare behind me. As I drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that the creature's glowing eyes were still watching me from the shadows. I delivered pizzas for a living, but that night's delivery was one that I would never forget. The horrors that lurked in the darkness were far more terrifying than any topping combination, and the memory of those glowing eyes would forever haunt my nights, reminding me that some doors should never be knocked on and some deliveries should never be made.